professional. Like it is because this is not a certification. This is kind of a award Microsoft gives to share our what you call this knowledge and technical community. Like currently what I'm doing, it's like sharing my knowledge with you guys and for the community. So that's an award, not a certification or nothing, but only thing they look for is my technical expertise, right? Any technical expertise on developer technologies. This includes all most of the JavaScript and PHP, Node.js, and again C#. It's anything you develop on Visual Studio platform. It includes me. It doesn't mean I know everything, but it's kind of a developer thing, right? There are the MVPs like Azure MVPs. They are on Azure, and then there are like AI MVPs and all these things. And this is my LinkedIn, so you can just follow on LinkedIn. And especially this is my YouTube channel. So it says YouTube/C/Ask Fiqri because today's session will be just 1 hour. Every week I'll just update some videos. For example, last I did some ASP.NET Core fundamentals videos. I'll just show it to you. And then I did some React.js. And currently I'm working on some PHP videos. So subscribe there. Then you guys can just have a learn on this, because after this one I will be continuing every week. I'll just show you my channel. This is my channel, and you all guys can see, I hope, right?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah, sure. So this is my channel, and then these are my React.js, and then these are my ASP.NET Core stuff, and then some fundamentals. This is like, to go to this playlist, I have fundamentals, React.js, and again some level 200 ASP.NET Core. So I'll be adding different levels. If you want to start, you can just start from here, and everything. The best thing is everything is on English language, so no problem. You guys can just learn it. So start with. I will just start with this one, like, what is .NET Core, right? So what is .NET Core? .NET Core is like, we'll start with this. So if you heard about object-oriented concepts, everybody's learned about object-oriented concepts like classes, objects, and all these things, right? So there are, if you look at these classes, you have two different things. For example, you can say you have classes. Oops, I've chosen some. Just close this one. Right. Start a new presentation. So the fonts look ugly on the top, right? So I'll start with this. I'll just delete these things and start from this level. What is .NET Core? If you can't see the screen or the fonts you can read, just shout me. I'll just increase the, right? What is .NET Core? Maybe I'll increase the font size. Now you know, right? What is .NET Core? We'll start from this part. .NET is a class library, a set of class library from Microsoft. Before .NET, before .NET Core, it was just .NET framework, right? So .NET is a set of class libraries. If you can say, if you're just new guys, like the first year, second year students, you can just say, okay, we can say, you might heard about this word class, and then you might heard about this word object. So what would be the difference between this class or the object, right? We can just I can read comments, right, on this one. If you just can type this or any questions here, so I will know. So your answers, it will be just, I don't want to just talk to myself, and then it's better you can just communicate with me, right? You can just type here your answers, like what is the difference between this. I'll just resize this one. What is the difference between a class and object? Can somebody just type the answer here? Just a quick thing. Anybody? It doesn't matter, because you you came to learn. It doesn't matter it's wrong or right. There's no such thing a right answer or wrong answer, right? So objects are created using classes. Any suggestions? Okay, let me think like this. Imagine you have so that answer is correct. So it says objects are created using classes. The different, I'll just tell you the different. So if you look at a class, imagine this is, I have this circle, a shape. I'm going to create, I'm going to say this is shape, right? I have a class called shape. From this shape, I can create, this might be a generic shape, I can create a circle, right? A circle, and again, I can say, I can create another one, a square. I'm going to say a square, or even though I can just create, oh, sorry, I can create a rectangle, right? Rectangle, rectangle, but, oops, right? Now you have three different shapes with one class. So this is kind of a blueprint, a shape. So from that shape, you create a circle, or you can create a square, you can create a rectangle. So what happened here? You have the shape here. The shape is the blueprint of this information. So this might have a width and height. This might have another width and height. This must have this radius, right? So I'll just delete this one. I'll just take these two. Now you have a square and a rectangle. What because if the width and height are equal, you get a square. If there's a difference, you get a rectangle, right? So these are the things you change, you get this one, and then create, this is called an instance. So now within this shape class, you can create rectangles, square. So imagine you have different classes, hundreds of thousands of classes, maybe 10,000 classes like this. You have lots of classes, right? So what they have done, like all these classes put into one name called .NET Framework. This is what Microsoft did, right? So this is what Microsoft, they have like lots of classes and then give a name called the .NET. We'll say the .NET Framework. This is what Microsoft gave. So there are lots of classes. If you're working with Java, so you can say they have a name, they are called JCL, or they can say Java class library, right? So that means Java class library for Java, or all these .NET class libraries of a .NET framework. These are names. So it doesn't mean, so every other things you have to learn. The first thing you have to come to mind is you have to learn all these Microsoft, not Java, nothing else, the concepts, the object-oriented concepts. That's the start you have to learn, right? So if you have any comments, you can just, questions, you can just type it here. I will have a look. And just this, then I can see the screen, right? So now these are called the class libraries. Now you have an understanding of what is a class library, and these are set of different classes, and they given a name. Now the problem was there. This is when they started this .NET frameworks only for Windows only. It was working on Windows only. That's because Windows, this was from Microsoft. Microsoft like mainly focusing on .NET, Windows, and then they just created on Windows. So this is the full class library is only for Windows. You can create Windows desktop applications. I'll just come to later that. So all these things are for Windows. Now after that, another era came, the cloud, right? For the cloud, you have to compete, and then most of these should be very lightweight things. But if you want to install a Windows application, you need Windows, right? Windows is like a full-blown thing. Then you have to install Windows. It doesn't feel like you can just, it should be like a small thing. So when the cloud came, all should be like small units. So these are called containers, and then these are called different names. So what we have to did was like, now when the cloud came in, this should be robust, and then what they did was they changed this .NET framework not from Windows only, they changed this to cross-platform, or maybe we can call it X-platform. X-platform, right? It says X-platform. X means any platform. So you can just say maybe Linux, or maybe you can say Windows, you can say Mac OS. So currently I'm working on a Mac OS. So now it doesn't matter what is the OS, then you can't say .NET framework. What they came up is, okay, you should be a different name, .NET Core. That's why it was named .NET Core. .NET Core is a like a full development framework, which is open source plus it's free. Two different things. That means open source, cross-platform, and then it's free. So to start with .NET, you can just, I have my Windows installation here. You can see this is my Windows installation, and you start with this URL. You can just try at home, or if you are in front of, definitely you might be in front of a machine. You can try just .NET. This is the URL you have to type, dot and net. So I'll just type it here on the comments, https:/.net, right? So when you type this URL, so it goes to this URL, you can just click on it, and I'll just type it here, .net. Now you can see it. Now this is, if you see here, right, I'll just show it on this browser. It will be much easier. So this one, if you see this part, right, what does it say? It says try .NET on Azure for free. It's one way of trying it. And get started with 12 months free services built in .NET Cloud applications, right? That means you can just try it for free, plus, and then you have the new framework. You can just say, and look at this part. It says supported for macOS, Windows, and Linux. I am on macOS. You can see I am on macOS. So this is my Mac, right? So you can just click download. So you have these options, and this is the current version. I have already downloaded macOS .NET framework. I'll just show it to you. So this is just increase the font size a bit, so you all can see. I hope you can see. So this is, I'm on my console. So I'm going to go to a folder. I'm going to say I have this folder called playground, and then I'm going to go inside my .NET playground. I have these applications I have created here. So a bit of applications. I'm going to start with new one. I'm going to say, let me say, okay, mkdir, University of Kelaniya. Let's say, now I'm inside this folder, right? So now after installing .NET, you can just say you will get a command line tool like .NET, and then you can try version. So this is my current version. After installing it, you get it. So I'll just show it to another operating system I have. So I have Ubuntu here. I'll just show it to you. While it's loading, so we can just check something here. So start with .NET. So now you have .NET framework. This is just only the .NET framework, nothing else, right? So you can start with C# programming. To start with C# programming, you can just say, to start, you can say .NET, just help. And then you get plenty of help here. See, it says .NET help, and this is a help, how to create this SDK commands, add, build, all this information. And then the main focus should be on new. It says new, create a new .NET project, right? If you're on Mac, I think you can just use these command line tools. This is just for .NET. So this is my Ubuntu installation. Just hit my password. Okay, what is my password? Okay. I have my Ubuntu here. Let's see. Okay. Now it will be the same. I'll just show you while it's loading. Now, if you go inside, you start with .NET and new. New means, like, again, if you go new and help, you get the help for new. See, this is my Ubuntu installation. I have this again command line tool. Just go here. You have your command line tool, and .NET, same thing, version. You have the version 3.1, and then you can just say, I'm gonna playground cd .NET. I'm on my Ubuntu, so you can just say LSB release. See, it's on Ubuntu 18.4. So I'll just say mkdir. I'm going to say .NET new help. It will be the same, right? Now, see, now if you say .NET help, set console application, to create these templates, you have the short name. You have console, class library, WPF, all these things. Mac is the same thing. So in Mac, you can just say, okay, .NET new console, and then -o, that means your output folder, and say hello world, and it will create the first application. Again on Ubuntu, it's the same. Just go here, .NET new console, or I'll just create a ASP.NET application. Here you can just go here. You look at this. This is MVC. See, MVC. You can say new MVC. I'm going to say hello MVC. Let's say -o hello MVC. Right now it's creating the project. So .NET Core project, and you have this. Now you have this folder. It says hello world. You go inside this folder. You can say .NET run. If you hit .NET run the first time, say it says hello world. You have this console application, and then here you on Ubuntu you can say .NET run the same command. Oh, sorry. You have to go inside your folder .NET. You can say cd hello MVC, and you will see the folder. You can say .NET run. It's the same. Right, you will see now this one, it says hello world, just a console application. Here you will see you have a logging information, and then you have something to look at. It says localhost some path. See, you click on this path. Or you can open your browser. I have Chrome here. Right, you have your Chrome, and then you can say localhost 5001 and proceed. So you have your ASP.NET application. So it runs on ASP.NET. So this is on Ubuntu, and this is on Mac, and I'll show it you on Windows. And this is on Windows. You know Windows, you can just use definitely Visual Studio. Now it comes for an IDE, right? IDE means, what is an IDE? You have, let's start with IDE. I just delete all these things. So if you have any questions, yeah. So there was a question says, sir, I want to know what industry expect from us in .NET area. Should we need to know all the areas in .NET, or what the areas we want? The question was like, do you have to know everything, right? This is a question. So I'm correct, right? Nalaka. Do I have to know everything on .NET? No, you don't have to. You can choose a path. Learns the basics. I mean the fundamentals. For example, so learn the fundamental means if you have an ASP.NET, you have to decide, okay, am I going to be, industry has these kind of vacancies. The first one is the software engineer vacancy, right? This software engineer vacancy, if you can't see the screen, just let me know. If even the fonts are small, that's okay. I'll just start with this one. This is the industry start. You can say software engineer, right? We start with this one, or maybe trainee or associate software engineer, whoever the first one. You can say software engineers, and they have web application developer, because most of the industry, most of the applications are now web based. Don't forget about the cloud. The next one, the web application developer, and then there might be a mobile application developer. These two, so web or mobile. So rarely, not rarely, sometimes you might get a desktop application developer, right? A desktop guy. Not rarely, most of the people might have this information, like 3 different areas. You just come up with the software engineer, you might get the web application developer, or a mobile application developer or a desktop application developer, right? This web application developer goes into three different areas. Again, actually two different areas. The front-end developer, FE developer, I'm going to say front-end developer, front-end dev, and then the other guy is the back-end dev. These are the availability. You can say back-end dev. Mobile application, there is no back-end developer, it's just the mobile application developer. And then again, desktop application guy might have a front-end and a back-end developer here as well, because it has a front-end, also it has a back-end developer. So this is how it goes. And then another area, these are the developers areas. And then some people, some guys might need another area like this. I'll just separate this one. I'll just separate this one with a straight line, but still it huge line, but you have access to each other. I'll say a dashed line. So you have the software engineer, and then you have another area called the QA engineer. Right, QA engineer. QA engineer means whoever the guys who are testing your application, right? They write their test and they write their other stuff and they write their all these things. So this is the part to start. You can be a QA engineer. That means you will have to know other testing environments, testing components, testing stuff to check, right? And for these, you need to know a development language or programming language, or right. I think I hope you understand. This is the separation for a development. So now, if you come to the web application developer, you have two different guys, front end, back end. So this area is again front end and back end. In web application and these parts, you might get another guy who knows both of these areas. So I just color this on a different color, maybe orange. I just send it to back. You will understand. So this guy is named, you can say, full stack developer, full stack dev. And let me bottom. This guy is the full stack developer, right? This is full stack web developer, and this is full stack desktop developer. These two guys. Whoever these guys, a mobile application, you have to know a language. That is a must. So it goes behind all these things. So all these things they have to know on a color, a different color. So you have to know just a programming language. Let's change the color into something else, black. A programming language, a development framework. You have to know these things, right? Language, right? A programming language means it might be C#, it might be Java, it might be F#, it might be JavaScript. It doesn't matter. That's a programming language. A development framework means you have to know a framework. So you can just write from the scratch. Definitely you have to know a framework. So we are talking about .NET Core framework, and then there might be Java frameworks, and then if you are a front-end developer, it's JavaScript, and then there are different frameworks like React.js, AngularJS, right? Angular. Those are the frameworks. And then again, if you are a mobile application developer, you have to learn a programming language and then a development framework. This framework might be Flutter. This framework might be React Native. This framework might be Ionic. This might be Xamarin. So that's another framework. So everybody has to learn a framework. Again, if you are a desktop application developer, a programming language like C# and other language. And then again, you have to learn a development framework like a WPF or maybe a .NET framework, right? So all these things you can just you have to learn these things. Understood? I think I have answered your questions. Nalaka. So I hope, right? So these things you have to learn. So you have to choose. Am I going to be a front-end developer? Am I going to be a back-end developer? Or I'm going to be a full-stack developer? It's up to you. Choose an area, and then you don't have to learn everything. So you have to learn something, the basics, like the object-oriented concepts. That's a must. And then to way of accessing databases, or maybe using direct SQLs, or maybe using another framework like entity framework and ORM. So you have to learn those things, and a mobile, whatever the things. So then you have to self-learn these things, the next stuff. So you learn the basics, and then you read the documentation, how to do these things. Nobody's perfect. You can just do errors, you can have problems, but still you can learn. You guys can learn because you have proven, because all you are like university students, you have learned, you have passed exams, you have proven your skills. So nothing, your IQ is good, so no problem on that one. Only thing is your time. You have to manage your time to learn these things. That's the main part you have to know. It doesn't mean you have to know every area. So for us, it's like we are now experienced. No, you are just starting. I am just experienced like a more than 15 years. Within these 15 years, you get this experience, all these areas. And then this is your starting point, software engineer. And then you might be, next step will be a senior software engineer. And then you can just go into a technical lead, and then trainee technical lead. And then you can just become a solution architect. All this, it's a path is there. Again, for the QA guys, it's the same. You have to learn a framework, and then you might know some little bit of programming, because you will get it right. Now let's go to the next stuff. I think, yes, you got the answer. So everybody understood this one. Let's go to back. So this is my framework. Now you have an idea of a little bit of .NET framework, .NET Core. This is .NET Core we have installed here. Now on Windows, let's go to an IDE, right? For IDEs on Windows, you can just say www.visualstudio.com. Like, I'll just paste the, it says www.visualstudio.com. Now this is the good part. You get the .NET framework for free. So .NET framework for free means you get C# language, F# language plus Visual Basic. That's, you have 3 different languages to choose with, and then you get your framework. Now next step is choosing an IDE. Look at this. You have 3 different IDEs. The first one, if you have a Mac, you can go to download Visual Studio for Mac. And then if you are in Windows, you can just go to Visual Studio for Windows, right? I hope most of you guys are on Windows. So I'll just focus on Windows. Look at these 3 things. You have a community edition and a professional edition and an enterprise edition. If you go to Mac, so it's a same thing. So let's look at this, the difference between these 3. Community edition is totally free. You don't have to pay a single cent to buy this edition. So that means it's totally free. The latest version, 2019, right? The latest update. Why it is free? If you are a student, and then if you are a company, a startup with 5 developers, you can use community edition for free. And then when the 6th person join your company, you have to buy a license. Then the community edition change into professional edition. So it's the same. Community edition is the same. Professional edition, they both are same. Only different is the licensing. So don't worry about, okay, I need an enterprise edition. It doesn't matter. You can just use community edition. It's a full-blown editor, like, like the professional edition, right? So make sure you download, so you don't have to use any other third-party crack source, so you don't have to use it because it's totally free. Even if you're on Mac, you have this community edition totally free. Like this editor, it's a lightweight editor, because if you're using Ubuntu, you have to download this part. Because on my Ubuntu installation, I have Visual Studio Code. So I'll just stop this one, Control C. I'm going to say code dot. I have my Visual Studio Code here with all the same things. You can just go to any C# code, you can just write code without a problem. So it doesn't matter. You get all the syntax highlighting, public, see, I action result, hello. You get everything, no problem. So it's a full-blown editor, for Ubuntu. So again, you get for Windows, you get for Mac. So, right, that's the IDE. I think I should use Community Edition for Windows. It's a full-blown edition like the Professional Edition, right? I hope you're clear with the editor. Now you have an IDE to develop your applications. Next, source control. Source control, I suggest from the day one, make sure you have a source control like GitHub. Because if you go to GitHub, right, you can totally create a free account. It's free. So the best thing is now you can just create unlimited private repositories plus private contributors. That means you can just create your repository privately. If you have your campus projects like university projects, you can share your code from GitHub. GitHub integration, I'll show you how to integrate GitHub with Visual Studio later in this session. Then you have a source control. Next step. The last one is this one, the Visual Studio Online. This means this Visual Studio is hosted on online environment. That means inside Azure, you can share your code, right? You can share your code online. You don't have to even a machine. You need internet connection plus a what do you call this browser. That's it. So you can use. Now you have an idea on editors. The next step, let's look at this .NET framework. What you can do from this .NET framework. I'll just go to .NET. Just Visual Studio. I'll just get .NET. Look at this. Now, web, mobile, desktop, microservices, IoT, cloud, machine learning, gaming. All those things can be used to develop using .NET framework plus using these IDEs plus C#. And then you have 3 different languages: C#, Visual Basic, F#. One platform, that's the .NET platform. And the best thing is, look at this part. It says, want to learn more about .NET 5. What is this .NET 5? Next step. .NET 5. Right? Now, how many of you are confused between .NET Framework and .NET Core? How many of you are confused? Just type your comments. So if you, the difference, now you know the difference. That means this is full-blown Windows applications. This is for cross-platform application, right? So this is a confusion from the beginning. I'm going to using ASP.NET full framework or ASP.NET Core. I'm going to using a Windows Core application or Windows.NET application. So these things will be an issue. Like now what Microsoft is doing is like they are just bringing entire .NET Core into one platform. They named it as .NET 5. Now it's still on preview. You can download, you can just go here, just go to this blog post. This is now on preview 2. You can download these one things like preview 2 runtime. Don't worry, you can just download it, and when you go to Visual Studio, it will show you the framework, right? I hope you understand what you have available and what you can get these things. And there was a question asking performance on .NET. I think Madhushan Nipuna, he has asked what is the performance. Performance, if you just look at this benchmarking, so .NET is like .NET Core is like more faster than React Node.js. So don't worry about the performance. The performance comes the way you write. It's not a framework. It's not the whatever the framework you're using. It's you, right? If you write code properly, then you can get this information, get this speed, the performance correctly. For example, if you write code like, for example, if you know select queries, so think about this select. Just so if you just say select, okay, you can just select asterisk from some table, right? Or you can say select field 1, field 2 from table where some condition. So you know which query performs well. So we all know this query will perform because you know the stuff and you get the data. You don't just get everything. So those kind of things, it's up to you. You have to decide what sort of codes I'm going to write, what sort of things I'm going to do. So that's the performance thing. And another one, so how to connect to a database. I'll just show it to you how to connect to a database. Next step, the database. So what are the databases you are using? Can you just comment me on what are the databases you know right now? So few comments would be nice for me to understand what sort of things you are doing right now. Just type it. I don't want to just, yeah, MySQL. Okay. Anybody is using SQL Server? PostgreSQL. Okay. And SQL Server. Anybody is using NoSQL databases like MongoDB? You can't have that. MongoDB. Okay. Now I have like 4 different databases. So if I ask why MySQL, is it because of it's free, or you are using connecting with some other language like PHP? I hope because it's free or something like. So if I tell you, you can just get SQL Server free, would you believe that? Right? I'll just show you. If you go to SQL Server, right? SQL Server. I'll just check. I'll just show you SQL Server. SQL Server. So downloads. Okay, what is that? I'll just go to this one. SQL Server. Right? If you look at this one, okay, this version. SQL Server 2019 Developer Edition. See, this is totally free. Full-featured free edition licensed for use as a development and test database for non-development. So for your campus projects, you can straight away use this developer version of SQL Server. No problem, you can use it. What if you are in Windows? So anybody is using Linux? See, run SQL Server 2019 on Linux. That means you can just select an installation. If you are Ubuntu installation, you can use Linux. So I'll show it to you on my Ubuntu installation. This is my Ubuntu, and this is another one called Azure Data Studio. This is like a thing. If you're using SQL Server, this is like if you're using MySQL, you have this MySQL Studio like PHP MyAdmin. This is kind of that. So this is SQL Server local. This is my local machine, Ubuntu machine. I have SQL Server installed in my machine. See, now I have connected. I have my databases. I have my movie database. I have these tables. So this is SQL Server on Ubuntu, and then you have .NET Ubuntu. So it doesn't matter what the operating system you are using. You have a database now, right? Even though on Windows, I'll show you some other thing. If we go to this one, like I have Docker installation. Docker, I'm gonna say, look at this one. This is the fun part. If you have Docker, right? I hope you can read these things. I'll just come here, right? Look at this. I have installed SQL Server 2017 in Docker, and I have installed MySQL 8.1 in Docker. I have used Oracle database in Docker. So I have 3 different databases in Docker on my Mac. Even if you have Windows, I suggest if you use this pattern, right? How to use this installation? You just go to hub.docker.com. So this is your hub. You can create an account. I have already an account here. It's free. This is my Docker ID. I'm gonna put my password here. I think yes, right? I have my password here. Look at this. You go to Docker and then go to repositories, not repository, not Explorer, right? Look at these things. Now, if you need a database, you just check here, database, right? Now you get plenty of database. You have Oracle database, you have MySQL database, you have Postgre database, you have MongoDB database. If you want to like install MySQL, just click here, and then you get the instructions. How to install it? See, so these are the instructions. It's easy to follow, copy paste, and then you have Docker run name and MySQL, and then you have Docker run how to run it. And then if you want to go back, I need SQL Server. Where's my SQL Server? Just search for SQL Server. Just click here SQL Server. See Microsoft SQL Server. You have 2017, 2019 latest version. This is the way, same way of installing. Copy paste this, you can get this information downloaded, even the Oracle. So for testing, so because I just installed 3 different databases, I want to test. I want to test dependency injection. So there was a question on dependency injection, because I'm not gonna tell you about dependency injection deeply, because I will be creating a tutorial on my YouTube channel. You can just subscribe there, and then you will notify it after I created it. So I think Osura Veerasinghe, he was like asking us dependency injection or .NET Core. I'll just show it to you on while creating the database, then you will know, right? So now how can we use MySQL SQL Server on Mac? This is how you use. So you have to install Docker. You can download Docker, and then I have Docker here. If you see this one, Docker, and then I have download Docker, and then these are the versions SQL Server, and these are the steps. Follow these steps. So it says Docker run. You can install it, and after installing it, I'll just start my SQL Server instance. Docker restart SQL Server 2017. I have 2017. Now I have 2017 SQL Server started. Now it is starting. I will shut down my Ubuntu installation. So it's the same. I'll just show it on Windows and Mac, then you will understand. I'll just shut down. Oh. Right, now SQL Server is started. So look at this. Now I'm on Mac. Going back to my virtual machine on Windows, I'm going to start SQL Server Management Studio. Now you know this one, SQL Server Management Studio. Keep loading. SQL Server Management Studio. Just open it. I'll close this one as well. So this is on my SQL Server, and Management Studio is still starting. Let's wait for a few seconds. Or you can just have this on Mac, have this data thing as well. Okay, started. Now look at this, the connect. So it will list down my SQL Server. I have 2 instances. So let me show on here. Now this is loading. Right. Now these are my SQL Server. This is my SQL Server. See, I have my SQL Server loaded. I'll just no. I have 2 instances here. I'll just close one of these. Just cancel one. Yeah, I'll just close one of these. Yeah, that's closed. Now let me look at this one, right? So it's looking for, if you look at this one, once this is my SQL Server, I'll just close this one, exit. So if I just go to my IP address on my virtual machine, so this is my IP address to my this machine. So, and this machine is running Docker on SQL Server. You go back, just enter this IP address, just copy, and paste it here. I have my SQL Server authentication. I'm going to say, and my password, and I'm going to connect it. See, now you have connected. If you look at this icon, just show it to you. See, the icon says a Linux machine. That means I'm running inside the Docker. I'm connected to my SQL Server here, right? So this is how you connect to SQL Server. I hope you got your answer. So let's go back to my SQL Server. So next question, how to connect to using .NET. Let's begin with a small project, right? I just go to my Visual Studio. This is my Visual Studio. So we have like, yeah, this is Visual Studio 2019. So let's just say, start with the create new project. And then I'm going to select ASP.NET Core web application and go to next. So if you see, I'm going to say web application, I'm going to say, okay, demo 1, create. Look at these are the options you have, right? You have plenty of options. You can just start with an empty project. You can start with an API. You can start with a web application, or you can start with a model view MVC application. You can start with an Angular, React.js, or Redux. So I'll start with a web application, an MVC application, right? And you can just select config HTTPS or not. It's up to you. I'll just keep it as it is. I'm going to say create. Look at the framework version. It says 3.14. And then you can select other frameworks here. If you have installed this .NET free, the preview framework, it will listed as here as well. You select 3.1 and create. Right. So close this. So I hope you can see my screen plus the font sizes. If you're not just, I'll just go to this controller, home controller. Can you see the font size? Everybody? So let me know if you can see or not. I hope you can see. I just maybe just increase the size for another 10%. So now you can see my application, right? Now this is the basic MVC application using .NET Core, and then you have these controllers and you have these models, and then you have these views. Like for basic understanding, models will be related to your data. It's just a basic understanding. Models means your data. That means whatever your data will be models. For example, if you have a movie database, movie table will be your data, and then movie model will be a model inside your source code. And if you have a director, and then director will be a table, directors will be in a table, like that, right? Views will be the presentation layer. Whatever you write or read, the user will see this layer. This is the controls will be handling from models to views and communication layer. This is your communication layer. This is how you start with a basic MVC application. That means controllers will be control your communication between your user to models or views, or both of them, right? And if you look at this project structure, you have this project structure like this. You have a startup file, you have program CS, and then all those things. If you just, I'll just show it to you. If you go to this channel, my channel, so YouTube, so this channel, I have a separate playlist for you guys. This one, introducing ASP.NET Core Sinhala Scale. So it is on English language, and then it will create this template from the beginning. That means from the scratch, start how it will be just no controller, no modules, no views. It's just a startup blank project. It will be totally building. You have like 6 parts. You will know how to create this template. The logging, the static files, the middleware, everything will be here, right? You can have a look at these tutorials, these 6 tutorials after this session. I'm going to just tell you this is how it works. Let's start with something. Let's try this executing this project. I'm going to click this drop down. I'm going to select this project because I prefer this one rather than IIS Express. This will be the Kestrel web application, web server. Just press it, it will just start running. Your default browser will be loaded and then will presented. See the log files. You can see all the logs here. Right, the log information and new application, a basic MVC application with 2 different views, the home and the privacy. I'm going to create another controller and the controller will display some information. We'll start with the controller first. Right, I'll close this one. So maybe I can just close these things here on. So I have some. I will be connecting to this database from my machine. Right, let's see. We'll start with a controller. I'll just do like this. I'm going to say right mouse click, add new class. New class, you can just create a class. I'm going to say movies controller. The name should be movies controller, the controller, right? If you look at this one, it says public class movies controller and the name ends with the controller. That's a must. If it's a controller, it should be like this. It should be ending controller and the name you can choose anything. So the name, for the name you can use a plural name or a singular name, it's up to you. But if you use a singular, that a singular name, that means you better use it everywhere. That's the rule, not a rule. It's better you continue this convention. Or if you're using plural names like people, movies, categories like that, then continue that level. So it's up to you, but decide first and then use it. Now movies controller, but still this is a class. This is not a controller yet. To turn this controller, you have to inherit controller base, right? Controller base, and then you press enter. Then it says the controller base is coming from this MVC. Using ASP.NET Core MVC, the controller base is from that. The first step will be, okay, public return type should be iAction result. That means this is my action and the name, I'm going to say index. And this is the basic action you can write. I'm going to say return view. So it will be returning a view. Semicolon, right? So for the view, you need context, right? You need this view. So this is one way of creating a controller. Another way of creating the controller is I'm going to delete this one. Okay. Just right mouse click and I'm going to say add new controller. See, let's say controller. And you're going to say MVC controller empty, say add. Then you can just say, okay, movies controller. This is one way of doing it. This is called scaffolding. So it will install the NuGet packages, the necessary packages for the MVC application, and it will build the project. Right? You can see me, right? I think the connection went off or something. Okay, all good. Now you have this. I think you just say right mouse click, add controller, and then MVC empty controller, add, and you will see the default controller information, right? Now you have this MVC controller. Look at this. It's linking MVC. It's the same, and then this say controller and then controller, right? So controller base. If you just controller base, that means you don't have support for view. So before I did, because if you are creating, for example, you are creating a web application, web API, REST API, you have to inherit controller base because it doesn't have view support. So if you need view support, you just inherit the controller. Now you have the view, controller, the basic of information. This is the first step. Now let's try to execute this one. And again, another thing you have to learn is the startup execute file. Inside the startup, if you look at this part, use endpoints. It says use endpoints, and then this is the endpoint, the controller, and the action, and the ID. This is the pattern you have to use. That means if you want to access this home controller, that means movies controller, you have to say the URL movies/index. Index is default, you don't have to. If you have another table, another action, these are called actions. That means how to call the URL, the domain name /movies/index. Let's go there. You have your login information here. See, the logging is there, then the base is there. See, if you want to say, you can say the pattern, the controller name, and the action name, index. See, index. Now, if you want to access your movies control, you say the movies/index. You don't have to say index, movies. Now look at the error. You will see invalid operation, the view index not found. That means we haven't created a view yet. So let's create the view. To create the view, you can say two different methods. One method is you go inside the views, and then there will be a folder with the controller name. Now you have this home. That means you have to create all your views for home controller. All your views should be inside your home. For the movies controller, it should be a movies folder. You create a movies folder and then you create the view. Else, you can say you come here, Visual Studio ID has support, right mouse on the name, you can say add view, you click index and you add. Then scaffolding will be there, and then if you look at this, you will see, okay, movies, and then the index.chtml. This is your movies chtml one, right? The basic view. Let's try again. Now you have the home privacy, and then you can say next home, sorry, movies/index. Now you have your movie index. Let's create a menu item here for these movies. Then you don't have to type anything. For that, you have to go inside views and shared, and then the layout. So this is the layout shared with every view. Then you will get these two. See, this area. This area is the navigation item. So you have this list item, and then what I'm going to say, I'm going to copy paste this one. Copy, paste, change this thing to ASP.NET. Controller name is like movies, and action name is index, and the label should be movies. So this is how you create, right? Let's run back. Now you have your movies, you click, you have your movies. Now let's create a list of movies here. To create the list of movies, we need some data. Data means that's your model. To create the model, you go inside your movies, right mouse, add new class. Sorry, it should be inside your models. In the model, you right mouse click, add class. So when you name a class, a data model, you have, it should be definitely, it should be singular, because this data represent one entity, one element. If you have lots of movies, within that movie, that means one movie. One movie means one entity. So you always have to do movie.cs and add. See, you have created a basic class and then you describe your class. Describe means you have to enter your information. Public, the movie needs an ID. You're going to say int ID. This is my ID. Get set. It's a get set property and public string a title. Get set and then public string, not string, I'm going to say date time released date. Get set and public string director name. Get set. Now you have 4 different strings and then one public boolean value. Now showing. So whether we can understand the movie is now showing or not. That means true means showing. For the moment, I'm going to say a default value. That means it doesn't show. This is to how to describe your object. That means this is your movie. How to describe ID, title, all these things, information. This will be the database table after this. So from now, I have my movie inside my models. I need to display some movies inside the movie HTML. So I'm going to go to my controller in the index. I'm going to create a private method here saying get a list of movies. That means movie. You have to list of movies. That means you have to using my models. So you have some movies. I'm going to say get movies. So let's say let's create some movies. Movies list. This is basic C#. To create a new list. List is a collection type of movies. Right. Now you add some dummy data. For int I equals 1, I maybe like 10 movies. I plus plus new, I'm going to say movie list, add a new movie. Always add a new movie. Let's add some movies here. ID will be I and title will be a title movie. I'm gonna say I and the director name will be some director and release date. I'm gonna say date time not now and now showing. Now showing I'm going to say like this. I'm going to say if it is I mod 3 equals 0 then true else false. So we get some random values here. This is we have learned these things, right? So that means one line you can just say okay mod 3 0 then true then false. Now you have some list of movies. The return then return the movie list. Now you have your method of movie list. Let's get the movie list here. Movies and I'm going to say get movies. Right? Like this. Now I'm going to pass the movies to my view. This is how you pass movies and movies. Now let's see. You have this blank thing. I'm going to go back to my views. I'm going inside the movies. I'm going to delete this index view. I'm going to delete because you can create from the scratch or you can just use this Visual Studio for generating the list. Again, you go back, right mouse index, add view, right? Add view. questions, no. Right? You go back to add view, and then here template, you select list. In the template, you select the list, and then the model class, you select your movie class. This is your movie class, and then you click add. Now you have your scaffolding running. It will read every information, and then it will create a movie type view. See, the model will be enumerable view. That means a list of movie type model, and then everything is created for us. Let's execute back. You have your home, and then when you click movies, you get the list of movies. This is why is dollar. I'll check list, fix that. Now see, now showing you have just these three are now showing because I just got this information randomly. But randomly, just every 3 items it will be showing. Now you have this information, edit, details, all these things. Let's create that part. Now next step, let's create the database. Now we have currently hard coded this information using this movie list. This is hard coded. Now you get the list. You've created the list of views. Let's replace this one from our database, right? So for that one, I'm going to refactor this code. Look at this, how to refactor these codes. I'm going to create a folder called services. Inside the services, I'm going to create right mouse, add a new class saying movie service. Right, I have this movie service. Inside that movie service, I'm going to create, I'm going back to my controller. I'm going to cut this one, and then go back to my movie service. I'm going to paste it and change this access specifier to public. Now you have a get movies, and then you have to, on Visual Studio, if you just say control dot, and it will import the missing reference. That means models reference. Now you have this movie created here. Go back to your get movies. Let's create a class here. Say private read only, a class saying let's say movie service. Now you have your movie service, a class. Now service, right? Now in the constructor, that means this is a constructor. You're going to create the service equals new movie service, right? Then you go back to this one. You can say service dot get movies. Now you don't have to touch your controller, because only thing you have to, I'm going to change this into hard coded value into some database values. Then you can just, let's see whether this is working right now. Now click on movies. Everything works fine. One of the things why the dollar is not there. Let's just say movie service should be dollar. No, you don't need this dollar. Let's save it. Now we have this movie service. Let's create a database now. This is how you create. You create a new folder. It doesn't matter how you use it. This is not a rule. I just normally create a data folder, and then I'm going to create another class called right mouse click, add class. Let's create, say, movie DB context. This is your database context. And then you have to install, you just right mouse click on dependencies on this dependency folder, right mouse click, manage NuGet packages, browse, you have to select Microsoft.entity. You have to select Microsoft.entity framework core, and you have to install that first. Entity framework core, install. Okay, accept. And next step you have to install is Microsoft Entity Framework Core SQL Server. Install. Accept. And the last one you have to install is Microsoft Entity Framework Core Tools. Right. So these tools will be help to create databases, migrations, all these things, and again install. So you have installed 3 different libraries right now. I will show it to you. So 3 different libraries. This is Entity Framework Core, SQL Server Entity Framework Core, and then Entity Framework Core Tools. 3 different NuGet packages. You close this. Now go to your back to your DB context. You inherit this. This is a simple class yet. To convert to DB context, you have to inherit DB context. So it's coming from Microsoft Entity Framework Core. See, it's coming from here. And in the constructor, to your constructor, you have to tell, okay, this is my DB context. This is how you start. I'm going to say DB context options. You have to give some options. And this is my movie DB context. Type of my movie DB context, and then get my options. Pass it to my base class. Base class means to the DB context options. Right? This is how you start. For the constructor, create some options and then pass it to the base class. Base class means this DB context. Then you add your tables. To add your tables, you have to say public. These are properties of this DB set. Table name is, table model is movie, which is your movie, and control dot, it will missing reference, you get models here, and table name movies. This is one part of doing it. A property get set. Now you have described your table. If you have lots of tables, you have to add them like this, and this is your database and this is your table, right? This is now done. Let's go back to your movies one. Let's describe your title. Now title is a must. You can say okay, say this is required. You say this is required. Required means it's coming from this data annotations. Required, and then I'm going to say it should be maximum length of 350. And title release date is a must. It is required. And the director name, yes, required. Plus the max length must be around, maybe I'm going to say 150. And this is false, always there will be a default value, then you don't need to worry about this part. Now this is how you describe your fields. If you create ID fields, this is a role. It should be an ID, then automatically Entity Framework will look at this field and create a primary key auto generated in SQL Server. So now you have movie, now you have described your table. Next step. Everything is done. Let's go back to startup. Startup class, you have to tell the application, I'm going to use SQL Server. It should be under configuration services. You go here, you can say services and add DB context, add my database context. This is the database context I'm going to use. The database context name is movies DB context. See, the one we created. And inside this one, you're going to configure this thing. So till you have told this is my database context, and please configure my options, configure options, and you're going to say options dot use options use SQL Server, right? This is the way you use it. That means use SQL Server. If you are using MySQL, install the MySQL libraries, you can say use MySQL. If you're using Oracle, you can say use Oracle. So depending on your database, you can just say here. Now it takes a parameter, a connection string. See, a connection string. The connection should be data source for SQL Server equals your data source and a database initial catalog. I'm gonna say my database name is like movies UOK and a user ID. So I'm gonna say a password. This is my database password, and that's it, right? Now you have configured SQL Server. Now I have to get my data source. I'm getting data source from my Docker container. I'm going to copy this URL and paste it here. So database is created, right? Now you have this information. Now I have like 10 minutes, I think. Just let's run it. Now you have configured your database. Next step, let's go back to tools. This is how you tools and seek tools is manage NuGet package manager and package manager console. First step, let's get this into like 100, 50, 200, right? Now you can see it, right? Now here, this is how you start. First step, add migrations. This is coming from this library, dependencies, packages, this tools library, right? Add migration. Now you have to give a migration name. I'm going to say initial migration, the first migration. You enter. Oh, sorry, if the name is okay, it doesn't matter. Now it will started, will succeeded. Now you have created the migration. See, now you have created the migrations saying this is my table name and then these are the information. So the length, all the length was taken. Now create this table, right? Migration is done. Next step, you have to update. All the connection strings are okay. If the connection strings are okay, you can say update database. That's it. You enter, will started, will succeeded. So everything is okay. The connection, everything is okay. This should execute nicely. Let's wait and see. See, it's done. Now let's go back to my database. I'll show it to you. The database. This is on Mac under Docker SQL Server 2017. So no problem. You guys can do it. Follow the instruction. Go to Docker Hub, download the database, and you can use it. You don't have to install it. Just within the Docker, you can use it. Let's see, reopening. Right. Now I have my SQL Server here. This is my local Docker SQL Server. And let's go back and I'm going to refresh. When you refresh, you should see this movies, UOK, and you select it. You see the database here. Now database is created. See, with the default, let's click, and then I'm going to say, okay, my current schema. You will see the current schema and you will see the movies table as well. With everything is created, title with 350 characters and release date, all those information, right? Now, let's go back to my code. Let's go back to my code here. Right, I'm gonna say 150. Go back to my code. Go to controllers. I'm going to create another controller, right mouse click, add. I'm going to say it a controller. This time I'm going to not create this empty one. I'm going to create a MVC controller with views using entity framework. Let's click on that one and add, let's say movies. The model class is movie, and then you have to tell, okay, what is the database context? This is my database context. And then you can just have to create a movie controller. I'm going to say movies 1, or maybe I'm going to say EF movies, entity framework movies controller, and click add. Now you have to wait it. That's it. After creating this one, you can study the code and then replace this code inside your services and write that. Right? Let's wait and see to create all your controllers. All the code necessary because the database is working fine. Let's see. See, now the entity framework is here created, EF movie controller, and then the index, the details, all the information. Let's execute this application. Now you have movies. I'm going to say EF movies. So that's the name we have given. See, EF movies. Now you have nothing there. Let's create new. See, a title. This is from EF Co. And then you can create, it's already created for you. You can create a release date. Okay, next week. And then a director name. I'm going to say my name. And then now showing not yet. Create. See, now it's inside the database. You can just go to edit. And then, okay, I'm going to say release dates maybe 25th. And then again, the date is changed. Again, you can create another one. Another movie. And the dates. And the director me again. I'm going to say now showing. Create. See, now you have it here. Now you can just click details. You have the details. And you can edit. And back to list. And if you want, even you can just delete. And delete. See, now if you go back to your database, you double click on movies. See, you will see this information. Let's add another one. Create new. DB demo. A date. Tomorrow. And a name. And create. Now refresh. So it's created here. This is how you entity framework. So go back to your code and read this code information. Right, see how it's written. Then move this information, refactor, like I refactored here. I moved everything here into the services, refactor the code to here, and then it will be clean, right? So I think that's it for today. If you need any answer, any question, just let me know. I can just answer it right now. I hope you guys understood something today. Let's hope how to just, anybody, any questions? I can just continue on this one. No questions so far. So I'll remove sharing screen. Yeah. So any questions, guys? So for Visual Studio for Mac, you can just create using the same way. I think Visual Studio Mac doesn't support any scaffolding. You have to write it yourself. Those code you have the different support. So for example, I'll just show it to you on Mac. You don't have that leverage on Visual Studio for Mac here. So you have to create these things manually, I guess, because I haven't used Visual Studio for Mac. So I'm using Visual Studio on Windows. So you can't scaffold it. So you can just create views, but you can't scaffold it, I guess. See, I'm not sure about it. So any more other questions? It seems there's no questions anymore. I think you better just, you need some fundamentals. You can go to my channel. I'll create videos. You can have a look at it there. If you need more information on other, like how to from end to end ASP.NET Core, you have this ASP.NET Core from the fundamentals. It just creates from the scratch. It will create all your information, all the necessary stuff there. It will explain what are these files, what is the startup file, what is the program CS. You can learn about this. So if you don't understand it, comment on my YouTube channel. I can just answer it there as well. So it's up to you guys. Any more questions? So we can wrap it up, right?
I think there's no more questions, so I think we can wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
no problem. I hope you learned something today, you guys.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you very much for joining me with us and sharing your valuable knowledge. And also we'll be sharing this recording with all of you, so you can catch up if you have missed anything. And as Fiqri sir said, you can contact sir through his YouTube channel. And if there's any questions, you can send us a mail also, so we can.
Yeah. Yes, if you want to learn anything, like for example, I'm working some on PHP stuff as well. So if you want to learn, okay, if you want to know, so can you just create me a Node.js tutorial from one to one, like I did ASP, not just post it there. I will, when I have time, I'll just create these videos for you guys. So my purpose is like for you guys to create the next skill levels. So that's why I'm creating free for you, and then that's why especially creating in Sinhalese, because you guys understand it in Sinhalese very well than English. Then you can just learn from something, post it, comment there. Okay, I didn't understand this. Can you explain it more? Or maybe I can type it there. Or maybe I can just create another meetup like this, and we can just chat about that one, right? So make use of that channel, learn something, and then create your skills. Because when you're out from the campus, so there will be lots of vacancies right now. So for the moment, there are lack of skills. There are lots of open source projects, lots of projects and the freelancing projects. So make sure just make use of that channel. You have plenty of information there. Every week I'll create some videos. It's like for full stack developers. I'm creating backend and creating front end. So you can choose one of those things and you just learn from it. So thanks, guys. So see you next time, maybe. Right?
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you all for joining with us. We'll be seeing you next session.
Yeah. Bye bye.